are you? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we're so inspired, and I want to give some thoughts about this session. If you are here, it's because you're really committed to the education process. So it's almost revolutionary, you can say. This session is the name of this session is In or Out, Sustainability Expert, Science Artist, Neurorobotic Engineer on the Future of Work. So a very important session that I hope you invest your time in this and then you have some thoughts afterwards. So this follows like this. Our taxes, unmanned subway trains, delivery robots, voice assistants, and metaverse, things that used to only exist in science fiction movies, have now become part of our everyday life. By 2050, one of three professions will rely on artificial intelligence. While concerns over rising global employment might be justified, one takeaway from the previous three technological revolutions is that innovations don't rely and don't really leave the job shortages, but rather necessitate a reconfiguration of the labor market. With return jobs getting automated, greater significance falls on intellectual labor and creative industries, which still depend on the human minds and as the main drivers, or our human minds. So, well, I'm Ignacio Villarroya, I'm organizer and Jovenes por el Clima, and overall I'm a student, and that's something that I want to highlight because we're talking about education, and also a proudly member of the Impact Team 2050 with other amazing members too. Okay. Also, what I want to talk about in this regard, and I want to also introduce the speakers that we have here in this session, is about the order of the destination that the world is heading to. That we need to change it, and in order to make this, we have to define the skill needed in the future of the world, and the future of the world regarding to work, and shaping the face of the next generation of humans. So here in the floor we have essentially first Dr. Vitasta Das, that is going to be online. Then Nasir Jogesai, PhD, educationist, writer, Laboratory of Education for Educational Innovation, a Higher Education of Economics of Pakistan. Vladimir Konishev, founder, CEO, Neurorobotics. Rafaella da Bona Gonçalves, winner, Young Inventors Prize 2022 of Brazil, a brother country of mine. Perfect. Let's start with the first question, that is directed to Nasir Jogesai. Our opening plenary session today was focused on people changing times of changing the times. The world labor market is constantly shifting. New concepts, new values, and new jobs appear day by day. But one thing remains, that are those values that we have that are important for us, they are acquired at school. Doesn't matter which value it is. So the question in this regard is, what needs to be, and what do we think about the, one second, what needs to be done, and this, one second, sorry. What needs to be done to harmonize different components of the educational landscape and ensure that the skills students hunt today stay relevant about these skills that change, but overall they are acquired in school? And how do you envision schools of the future, resilient in the face of current crisis and prepared for a world in which some occupations are becoming obsolete?
Yeah, thank you everybody here. And I think it's been a very nice opportunity to be with nice people around here. We're doing intellectual across the globe. And thanks for the organizers, thanks for the opportunity. Actually, I'm from Pakistan, but I'm working with the High School of Economics and the School of Education. And that's what they clarify. I think since morning we've been listening so many buzzwords, like we say critical thinking, transformation, innovation, pedagogies, time, change, space, everything. But when we talk about these things, ultimately we talk about education. As we see education, I personally believe, I think everyone believes that education is the cornerstone of overall social development. If a nation, if a society, if a community is to prosper, they have to put all things into education system to make it more perfect, more responsive, more innovative, more need-based. So when we talk about education, we talk about hopes, we talk about life, we talk about happiness, we talk about prosperity, we talk about tolerance, we talk about coexistence. Despite being diverse in thoughts, despite being diverse in opinions, in foods, in culture, in race, in opinion, how do we coexist? This is what education brings about. And one thing that is made very clear, for me that is very critical point, is that how do we perceive, how do we place education in our socio-economic landscape? There are basically two options. One is to put education on the driving seat. The other one is to put it on the receiving end. So what is our option? Actually, we have sought for the second option. We put education on the receiving end. Let's say, we always say that education is a tool for socio-economic development, yes, right? But who will decide that so-called indicators for that educational prosperity, social prosperity, let's say a society defines. For example, we live in this society, we're in the fourth industrial revolution age. We're around with artificial intelligence, digital transformation, information age, knowledge-based economy, right? So we get new trends. From where? From the industry. They introduce new trends, new jobs, new skills to earn more. So they put education in the receiving end. Now, what is the driving force? The driving force, I think, this is the education that needs to be innovative. That should decide what is good for humanity, what is good for coexistence, what is good for life, what is good for happiness. How do we do things? Now, the first fear in this information age that he used a word that a job will be or profession will be obsolete. Yes, in life there are things obsolete. They should be obsolete. In language or in education, we use a term that is unlearn. Before learning, we need to unlearn. To unlearn our bad habits, our past things that we did and did not work, so better we unlearn those. So that is part of education. That is integral to education. We should not be afraid of that. I believe since human is there on this earth, there are new jobs, there are new trends, there are new innovations, there are new opportunities. And I believe that every crisis brings opportunities. We have the COVID-19 pandemic. There are a lot of opportunities. Today we talk here, but we are connecting to the world to online mode. Before the pandemic, there was face-to-face online. But now what we say offline mode, online mode. Now the face-to-face part got skipped. This is after the pandemic. Now, when you go to Zoom was established back in 2011. But it bounced back after the pandemic. So they transformed things. They realized the need, what the need is. What are supposed to be done in the interface, in the smartness, in the responsiveness, in the agility, in compatibility. All these things come into play. So what I believe that future education needs to build attitudes, to build behaviors that can survive, that can sustain. Skills, yes, they are well valid for time being. Today, the skills we have today might not be valid for tomorrow. But being empathetic is as relevant as today as after 200 years. As human being is as valid as today as after 200 years. As a nice human being, as responsive, as tolerance is as important as today as after 200 years. So what I think there are 6 or 7 basic things that any effective education system should accommodate. Number 1, the first thing that is character. We're not talking about personality, but we're talking about character. Character is all about empathy. reframe my thoughts, reframe myself, to be responsive to what the people need, to what my society needs. How can I contribute to my society? This comes as character. The second is citizenship. We should inbuild civic sense. We should make people responsible. In my country, I talk to my people, I say, we had less universities, but we had clean roads. But today we have more universities, our roads are more dirty. So it means there is something wrong. There is something wrong with our education system. That doesn't build civic sense, civic responsibility. And as the time goes, we are not citizens of Russia, we're not citizens of Pakistan, but we are global citizens. Once I go on social media, I connect to the world. So I have to be more responsive, to be more ethically strong, morally strong, how to behave there. Am I throwing rubbish on the social media, or am I supporting, contributing to knowledge generation? This is the point to ponder. As we saw in today, last match in Qatar, we saw Japanese spectators, they was collecting rubbish from the ground, from the stadium. So that tells the effectiveness of their education system, how much they emphasize on the civic sense. They take citizenship as global, and they think Qatar is their lane as their Japan there is. So this is global citizenship. The third one, that is communication. Things get wrong when we don't communicate. When we don't properly communicate, convey what we want to do, we want to plan what to say. So communication is another strength that our learners must have, whether it be verbal, whether it be written, whether it be body language, other things, that the communication. Then collaboration. We cannot take a solo flight. We live in a interdependent world. For example, if iPhone is making a phone, it is not the only iPhone that makes the phone. There are many companies involved in that, so they work together, they interdependently work, and they produce a product. So interdependence is very important, that is collaboration. The other thing that is critical thinking. We should not take things for granted. We should raise questions. We should criticize. We should think about pros and cons of every phenomenon, every aspect, and we should be able to raise the right question, not to sort the right answer. This is very important for critical thinking skills. The other one is creativity and imagination. Long ago, scientists say that imagination is everything. Unless you don't imagine, you cannot. For example, when we go 100 years back, if we get a dead body up and say, yeah, we have a phone, and Nazir is sitting in Russia, and I'm watching him on my phone, will he or she believe? I don't think so. Because this was beyond his or her imagination. So being innovative, being imaginative is very important, because we live in the world of uncertainties. What happens the next year, we're not sure. But we should be innovative, we should be able to forecast what may happen. We should be able to predict things. Please stop me if I'm going long. The last point, the very last point, is that our education system must bring us out of our comfort zones. We should break our comfort zones, we should come out of it. We should take pain to relieve the pain of others. Unless we don't break that shackle, we don't break that comfort zone, we say, I'm safe, I'm okay, I have a good job, but the neighbors, the society members, if they are struggling, my children will be struggling for sure. I guarantee today, the day after tomorrow. That is to come, and that we should be responsive to. Thank you so much. I think that's enough.
Well, I'm pleased to listen to that words. I think that the change of education is coming also. One of my main takeaways from your speech, Dr. Jogesai, is that the change is coming also from not only from the countries that have always been leading the way in the education system, but also the change is coming from the developing nations, from the emerging economies. And for example, when I listened to your speech, I was remembering also about Malala Yousafzai, another, activist for education from Pakistan. So I'm very pleased to listen to that words. Following to this, I want to introduce the speech and a message from Rafaella da Bona Gonçalves from Brazil that is going to be here broadcasted. She was recognized by the prize Young Investor 2022 by the UA and also by the World Economic Forum. So we're so pleased to to listen to that video.
Thank you for the introduction. Hello everyone, thank you for attending and being interested in this presentation. My name is Rafaella de Bona Gonçalves. I am from Brazil and I have a degree in industrial design, and currently I work as a strategy and service designer. In my field, I explore the design process and its relation with new technologies and business models, function as a catalyst to make the world a better place. My main principles are empathy, multidisciplinary collaboration, creative tools, and the co-creation of solutions focused on the challenges we currently have regarding society and the environment. I believe the design while attached to business and new technologies can turn the positive impact on people and the environment into something possible and scalable. And one of the new technologies that influence the growth of such impact is artificial intelligence. The information that I would like to tease you with today is that AI can have an important role in reaching sustainable development objectives. From ending poverty and hunger, enable the adoption of sustainable energy, reaching gender equality, and even protecting and preserving biodiversity. With that in mind, a study published in Nature Communications analyze how AI development can make many SDG advances, confirm that AI can act as an enabler for 134 goals, or 79% of all SDGs. Generally, by means of a technological improvement which can allow certain current limitations to be overcome. This technology can support the supply of food, water, health, and energy services for the population, as well as sustain low carbon systems, for example, supporting the creation of circular economies and intelligent cities which use their resources efficiently. However, a very implicit point in this study is that as AI is programmed, we should always be attentive to the principles of ethics, democracy, and human rights. Failing to do so may result in gaps in the standards of transparency, safety, and moral principles. Understanding what problems are there, how they can be solved with the help of new technologies, as well as design and develop these technologies so that they don't turn out racist, misogynist, or elitist, is where humans' knowledge and empathy will be a differential. By all the possibilities present, artificial intelligence is the perfect union of design and technology, representing how we can use our principles such as empathy, creative, and co-creation in the solution of problems in collaboration with machine. Here, we shall have the design much more in the role of facilitator and strategic thinker than a creator in their operational scope. The designer stopped doing some more mechanical actions, such as just think about the aesthetic of an app or place of fortitude, and start think about the relationship with a system too. Think strategically about its actors and the consequence of their actions when proposing a solution. That's what I am currently working on. Solving problems demand analysis and interpretation of multiple variables, collaboration of many people, and use of mechanisms which potentialize experience, making them the most efficient possible. Thus, the collaboration between humans and machines is essential, and for that, professionals of the future shall know much about technology. However, they must also know much about humans and society. They shall be high-tech, but also high-human. That being so, to remain competitive, the new professionals will need additional knowledge and experience to contribute in this new contest, and this will be reflected more and more in multidisciplinary professionals, who shall permeate more in the design sector, developing their creative and empathic intelligence for the solution of problems. They will be teachers who will also have a degree in design, constantly testing new structures and technologies to improve their studies learning, or hospital that will have designer physicians who will use creative and user-centered tools to rethink patient experience in face of new equipment and technologies developed for the health sector. And more than that, have in mind that in the future, many of the professionals will have a degree in creative intelligence. I would also like to emphasize the importance of designers in search for the multidisciplinarity in other fields as well, such as in understanding of business models and the development of technologies. With the rapid emergence of new technologies and the change they provide society, we must adopt a lifelong learning mentality, which is nothing more than being an eternal curious child and never stop discovering new things. If I could give you just one piece of advice regarding the future, learn how to use technology to make possible and scalable your positive impact in the world. And with that, design a better future. Thank you e obrigada.
Miss Gonçalves, a true trailblazer for tomorrow, of tomorrow. And my next question is going to be to Dr. Vitasta Das, that is joining us online. There, I can see you. Okay, Dr. Das, in your work as a professor at one of the leading Indian universities and a science art ambassador, you're bridging Indian perspective and future in STEM, a vibrant heritage from this past. Science and humanities have always been portrayed as things that are completely different, but it's so interesting how you can make them, together and in your work. So we want to listen more about this amazing work. And my question is, how do you do to humanize, the science discourse? Because sometimes we portray the science as something far from, the humanitarians, all the sciences, far from people, far from communities, but actually science without community has no sense at all. Science has been developed for make people's lives better. That's why we're here. That's why we want to work. So I would like to give the floor to you and listen to your work.
Hello, everyone. Good evening and namaste. Yeah, as you mentioned that, knowledge has been compartmentalized for a long, long time, and they have been stereotyped. And my work is trying to bridge this gap. My work lies in the intersection between science, technology, and art in general. Art, more specifically, people's art, folk art, or indigenous people art. So as you have mentioned that knowledge has always been compartmentalized, they have been stereotyped, where science is supposed to be certainty, authority, and accuracy, whereas art, or more specifically folk art or indigenous people art, is supposedly informal, or they are unsophisticated, or they are yeah, so they are supposed to be rudimentary. So these are the stereotypes that are associated with different domains of knowledge. So what I'm trying to do with my course at the Indian Institute of Science of Bangalore, India, is that to bridge this gap and to see how we can bring this different kinds of knowledge together and to see what kind of different or fresh knowledge that comes out. Indigenous people's art or folk art is important not only because of its aesthetic value, but they are the collective knowledge of a community or a people in general. And looking at this art, we can understand the philosophy, the worldview of the community itself. So this is a very important. I have not shared yet. I'll do. So these are, as I was saying, these are very important, aspect of, understanding a community or a people. So I want to show you some examples what we have been doing at the Indian Institute of Science as a way of bridging this gap. Let me share my screen. Can you see the screen? Yes. So we have brought out two books. One is called Arting Science. This book contains the scientific concept presented in form of true folk art or Indian folk art, indigenous people's art. And the second is this Jal Jangal Zameen in this age of science and technology. It also contains paintings of done in indigenous art, which represents the juxtaposition of science and technology with tribal people's goals and ambitions. So these are the two books that we have published so far. So this is the first year that I had taught, and this was the assignment I had given to my students. So the assignment was that to talk about a scientific concept with people's art, with indigenous people's art. And we see, so this was just all my assignments are to test whether the folk art have the vocabulary to speak about sophisticated concepts of science and technology. And very well it has. This was kind of an experiment that we had conducted, and we see that the people's art do have the vocabulary or the language to express sophisticated art, sophisticated science and technological concept. So these are some of the examples. So first one is showing Mendel's law of inheritance, in Madhubani style. Madhubani is an art form of India, people's art form. And second one is the evolution of animals, animal world. This is the robotics in miniature art form of India. This is a Worli art, a tribal, the one here, in black, that is the Worli art. Worli art is another tribal art, and it is showing accretion, the concept of physics, where the body which has more mass attracts the body having lesser mass. So that is a concept of physics that they are showing here. They are trying to show village and the city, where the city is attracting people from the village. Then the long art, the red in background is called charial art, and here they're showing phagocytosis. This was the art form that basically depicts war scenes, and here they are showing phagocytosis, where the antigen and the antibodies have a conflict when the germs try to enter a body. Below is the significance of zero. It's shown in Kalighat style painting of another part of India. India, as you know, is very diverse, and different states have different art forms. So this is from art from West Bengal. Then there is the Sanchi art, the paper cutting art. Here they're showing the mathematics theorem, collage conjecture. And the last one here is the church art style, and they're showing metamorphosis. Also, getting over all the vices and becoming a better human. So this is done in church art style. So here is another group of students where I had given them the assignment to talk about the scientific concept they see around them and express it through a folk art. Express it through a folk song. I can hear an echo. Can you minimize that? Okay, so here is a song that the students have presented, and they had spoken about the the life cycle, the life of the river dolphin, and it is sung in a vernacular language of India. It's the language is Odia of the state Orissa. I would like to play the song for you.
कागे गाइबी परण संगीत कापासे पाइमी अंतर बीणा काकाने कोइमी मरम वेदना मन कथा मने रहिल सिना कागे गाइबी परण संगीत कापासे पाइमी अंतर बीणा काकाने कोइमी मरम वेदना मन कथा मने रहिल सिना मुझे अनतिम भाव शुणी मगर मरण महाडरे बइछि आजी जालरे फसिछि फसुछि मनिष जीवन म जेउछि जारी फेरे मोराई जे नाही न सुन्दर असत अन्याय अशुभ बिन्दु कि मो भावना मो प्राण प्रवाह भेटी आजी से फेरे मो सिंधु
So that was another example. So we have done experiment with visual art. We have done experiment with performing art. So here was a folk song. Next was a folk theater, and I had asked the students to show, as scientists, what they think are the issues in the in the society and how they can counter it. Being a scientific, having a scientific attitude. So here they had shown many things. In Indian society, we have this caste system. They showed through the folk theater how they can counter it through having a scientific attitude. Then there was this unaccounted development and how they can how they can counter it or how they can address it. Those were the things that were shown in the folk theater. And one here where the cow is there, they were showing how human beings have anthropocentric attitude towards the world, and that needs to be changed. And as scientists, they can help in the process of undoing this. So here in another batch and in another group, I had done folk dance, and we had I'd asked the students, our students take. So these are all science students that I teach, and our students take major in 6 disciplines: physics, chemistry, maths, biology, environmental science, material science. So I had asked the students to pick up one groundbreaking discovery in each discipline and to show it in form of a folk dance of India. So the chemistry group had shown the Haber's process in Dolo Kunita style of Karnataka. Karnataka is another state in India. Then the material science group had shown microscopy through the Kuttu style of Tamil Nadu. That is another state which has Kuttu is the dance form of the state. Then here the biology group had shown CRISPR through the Labni dance of Maharashtra. Maharashtra is another state again. Here they are showing the physics group had shown the gravitational waves through the Koitapattu dance of Kerala. Kerala is another state. And this is the earth science group, and they're showing the plastic eating worms through the Veera dance. Here is the mathematics group who are showing the 4-color theorem in Kalbelia dance of Rajasthan. So I want to play a clipping of the Kalbelia dance, the 4-color theorem. Here, what the students are trying to show is the students are wearing different 4-colored dress, and until the last color is added, no 2 dancers standing, in adjacent position are wearing the similar color dress. So here is one small clipping that I wanted to share with you.
मारेगा घड़ा घेरा डाला थारा चोखा चराचा दाल बात खा ले आके मारेगा घड़ा घेरा डाला थारा चोखा चराचा सारी शरारत सब झाड़ू मैं चौधरी मारे चले वो न पंगा जी मैं कर दे गुड़ में लागी सौकड़ी रे चंदा में थारी सागड़ी और दामन में वादी कुसी रे झूम 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 बाजू ओ मारे गुड़ में.
So that was the dance. So in another group, another batch of students, I had, given them an assignment to, juxtapose science and technology at one hand, and to see the tribal issues, the most underprivileged, group of the society in another, another hand, and to see what science and technology has done to the tribal life, whether they have done anything good or they have done, made life better for the, the underprivileged community of the country, or has it done any harm? So I could see three, strands of ideas emerging from the classroom. One group of students believe that science and technology has not done anything; it has only harmed the tribal life. And here they have shown here all destruction. These are again Indian folk art forms. And here they are showing destruction. Here in Chitra, this is the Assam manuscript style. They're showing destruction. Here they're showing how nature has become imbalanced because of the intervention of science and technology and the damaging effects of science and technology. In the third one, they're showing how the snake is eating its own tail, the Oberon theory, and how science and technology is leading one to destruction. The second group of students, thought that there has been a good intermingling, good confluence of the science and technology and the tribal life. Here you can see the elephant corridor. It's been nicely mingled here again. There, how science and technological innovations have been able to better the life of the tribal community. So these are the examples they have shown. The third group of students thought, believe that science and technology has made very starking innovation, and they have been able to bring freshness. They have been able to solve many pending, many lurking dangers through the innovations. Here they're showing the coral reef restoration through the Gond art of Madhya Pradesh. Again, Gond art is a art form of the people of Madhya Pradesh. That's the state of India. Here they are showing how the DNA, changing in the DNA has been able to solve the drought issues. Here the cloud seeding they have shown. The second one was in Pichwai art of Rajasthan. It's an art form, and this is a miniature art, of India from the Orissa state. So in the following year, the pandemic hit, and we were not able to do, offline classes. We had to take it, online. In the following year, we had tried to see how folk cuisines and science can come together. Folk costume, what is the, what is the value of folk costume, and why do certain regions wear certain kind of clothes? The, understanding that, aspect. Then there was folk tales and how one can, understand folk tales from a scientific perspective. So these are the kind of work that we have been doing at the Indian Institute of Science. And what we have observed is that, very often we think that the art of the common people do not have the sophistication to, talk about, complex scientific issues. But here we have shown through our examples that it's not the case. And the art of the common people needs to be taken seriously, and they need to be relooked and given their due respect. And this is a very unfortunate happening. It's an unfortunate occurrence all around the world that people's art, people's knowledge are being subdued, and things that don't work are being don't work for a society are being given more importance. As we have heard from the previous speaker, that things that don't work for a society needs to be undone. And I think the folk art that community producers shows the the worldview, the philosophy of the community, and what has worked for them for ages together. So this has been my humble attempt that to give the folk art the knowledge of the people its due importance, and discussing this in a scientific institution. By the way, all the students are science students, and they are just taking this course as a course in the humanities. And giving this background to the science students would somewhere touch, and the scientific community would become a more human community. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you very much. I'm going to leave notes aside. I want to speak from the bottom of my heart. I think that we have been debating with this with the Impact Team 2050, and some conclusion that we have is that we have to really keep on working on the communication channels, and arts, of course, is one of them. Art is prior to even to the writing language, so it's something that humanity has been living with for thousands of years. Even when we listen to to the music, there was people joining, so there is like immediate impact, I think. So we are running out of time, but I want to give this final question to our guest, Vladimir Konishev, that remember that is founder, CEO of Neurorobotics. So you're leading a Neurorobotics lab that has already developed a revolutionary neural interface without borders, anthropomorphic robots, and neural headsets. This all sounds like very futuristic, and we want to keep on dwelling on the future. So tell us more about what you've been working at the moment. How can we, young especially, develop a career in your field? And what healthcare challenges you aim to overcome with the neurobotics solutions?
Yeah, thank you very much. Because conference is related to education, so I will talk about this application of our work. From my point of view, this profession, neurotechnologies, is very important in coming years. And everybody knows that to use successfully a very complex instrument, we need to know about it. And strangely, most of us doesn't know how our brain is functioning and how to tune it to get the peak performance. So in my talk, I will present some information about this, and it have wide application from digital pills, which help with many diseases, mental and psychosomatic, to cognitive leadership tools. Why it is important? So here is standard symptoms we experience now. So many people could not work with these fast changes in our days. We have so many information, but we don't have time to process it. Even still, we think that we don't get most important information, and we're working at the maximum of our speed and could think how we can process more. And we also are stressful that if we don't pass, we will lose job or business. Results of this at personal level is depression, anxiety, and mental diseases. Sometimes it's a health problem like psychosomatic disease. At corporate level, it is professional burnout, necessary to find new personnel, and so on. And at social level, the cause of these mental problems increasing every year. Few statistics. Almost 800 million people experience different type of mental problems, and in case of money and lost working days, it is some statistic for England. You see that even young generation, Generation Z, in United States, for example, have a lot of mental problems. Like 82% of them have such kind of problems, and 30% of them every month spend $44 for this. And why it happened? So Starting 1980, it was people start using abbreviation called VUCA, which explain our world. Originally, it was developed by military in Pentagon, describe a battlefield. In battlefield, we have volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. We don't know what happened next hour. Then it becomes, it happens same in business, but now we see similar features in family level. Even more, in 2016, the futurologist Jamais Kasha introduced abbreviation BANI, which say our world becomes even more brittle, anxious, non-linear, and incomprehensive. This means it can be broken. We feel anxiety because we don't know what happened. And our prediction doesn't work anymore. Small changes can lead big changes. And we couldn't understand why it's happened. And exactly when we see small climate changes brings to main changes in our life, Trump presidency, Brexit, and COVID pandemic. Even more, starting this year, we see that the world becomes even more split, horrible, inconceivable, vicious, but still rising. So this abbreviation Shiva from Indian god, which is god of disruption. And it was introduced by a Russian scientist, Mark Rosin. So how to comply with this new Shiva world? According to Harvard Business Review in 2019, one of key tools in new world is management of our brain states. And everybody knows about a healthy lifestyle, but also we need to know about healthy lifestyle of brain. And this is how to manage our resource states. It is more than 4, but 4 is most important. It's like if you drive a car, there is several speeds, and you couldn't use only one speed to perform different tasks. Start, fast driving, and so on. Same with the brain. We need to use its states. Basically, there is a physical world. We use our sensing systems and also psychic world with no time and space. And we use different kind of focused action mode when we work with external world, and diffuse thinking when we work on psychic level. There is several states, beta, alpha, theta, delta, and on every state, different tasks are performed better. For example, on beta states, we getting information, working with external world, external attention. On alpha states, we manage stress, adaptivity, and on theta level, we work with intuition, creativity, and so on, and emotional intelligence. So what is the main tool of neurotechnologies? It is so-called neurofeedback. Probably many of you heard about biofeedback, neurofeedback. It is some kind of technology which gives you information how your heart is working, or in this case, brain is working. So usually it is some simple device which is wear on head, and it processes information from the brain and visualize to people on very clear manner, like games, video, and audio. So people learn what is the current states and how to go to necessary state. And what I want to stress, it is now consumable devices which can be used by anybody, not professional as before, in family or companies. And In case of Neuroplay device, which my company produce, it is dry active technology which doesn't require to put gel on head, so it's easy to use. And of course, when we train people how to go to different states, usually there is two-way. With psychologists, or we have special neuroforçage platform, which is artificial-based training system. We have different courses for healthy people or with people with cognitive impairments like post-COVID symptoms or post-traumatic stress disorder. And it could be developed new courses easily. It's like PowerPoint, but it runs on computer or tablet PC or smartphone, and data is collected on cloud platform for better development. And here is example of post-COVID. It is 10 to 15 half-an-hour training, which is self-paced. People wear headphones and hear instruction and so on. About application. So as I told in the beginning, it is digital pills. For example, for elderly people, for adults with sickness, like cognitive impairment. Especially, I would like to stress application for kids. Here in Nizhny Novgorod, we have headquarters of franchise Neuromir, and we successfully help people, kids with attention deficit disorders, 100% guarantees. Also, we help people with autism spectrum disorder and enuresis and tics, but also about mental tools for healthy adults. For example, if somebody has sleep problem, insomnia, problem with dreams, so it can be restored. Especially this is important for pregnant women who couldn't take medication. Also, there is stress relief, working with increasing memory, attention, neuroprofiling. For example, corporates ask us to diagnose their staff, and after this we compensate their cognitive deficits and so on. Also, there is some neuro entertainment, so it's possible to play neuro games. On networks session, please come to me and I will show how it is work. Few examples. I see almost time is out, but just 2 minutes. So this example of digital pill. So probably many heard about post-COVID problems. It is emotional and cognitive impairments. And we developed NeuroV complex, and it has fantastic results. After 5 to 6 sessions, sleep and dreams are normalized. And after 10 trainings, apathy, depressions, and irritability or tearfulness are gone. Also, we see that people's eyes becomes again bright, increase of libido, positive feeling of life, and so on. There is some below is comparison of control and experimental group. For adult, regarding cognitive leadership tools, it is most famous is alpha training and beta training. So people after training to learn how better stress and emotional control, increase intuition, creativity. In reality, alpha training improve our brain metabolism and trigger neuroplasticity effects. In beta training, people worked with bigger amount of information, increase analytical thinking, attention, and working memory capacity. Altogether, this training for Shiva Worlds means people learn to use 4 states, they increase their IQ, they increase their emotional IQ, becomes more adaptive, and also I would like to emphasize synchronization of brain for better teamwork. One of our application is measuring EEG simultaneously on several people, and very intriguing results, like if couple, man and female, have synchronized alpha activity, it is it is good sign for happy family life. So we're thinking about before getting married, provide such a service to couple to measure how the synchronous is. Thank you, and looking for cooperation. And please come during network session for live demo on yourself. Thank you.
Well, spasiba bolshoya, Mr. The Russian. Okay, Konishev. But let's not the words fade in the air, but let's get those words and inspiration to, once we're out of these doors, be working, be motivated to work, because change is coming. But there is a problem. That change is not coming alone. We have to push it. So, well, let's work.